Namaste children, welcome back to another session of our science class, that is microorganisms, friends and foe. So in this chapter we are going to learn about the microorganisms, where they are found, what are the different uses of microorganisms, and what are the harmful effects that are caused by the microorganisms. So at first let us know what our microorganisms are. So, what are microorganisms? To understand this term microorganisms, let's observe our surroundings cleanly, children. So, in our surroundings, we will find so many different types of living organisms. So, all the living organisms, if you will observe clearly, they are having different sizes. All the living organisms that are present in our surroundings, they are having different sizes. Some are very huge in their size like an elephant, some are very small in their size like an ant. Okay, there are some other animals are also existing in the nature which are very smaller than these ants or any other smallest animals. That organisms, if you want to see them, you have to see them under microscope. What we are using to see them, to see some living organisms, we are using microscope because they are very minute in their size. So such organisms which are very minute in their size and used microscope to see them, such type of organisms are said as microorganisms. Micro means small. These are not even small, they are very small, so that you have to definitely use a microscope to observe them. That type of living organisms, we are saying them as a microorganisms. So now the question is, where these microorganisms are present? Are they seen in a desert area? Are they seen in a polar region? So where exactly these microorganisms are present? So microorganisms, they are present everywhere in all kinds of environment. Not these are that. These microorganisms, they are present everywhere and they are present in all the different kinds of environment. Okay, all the different kinds of environment means they are seen in a desert area, they are seen in a polar region, they are seen in a heavy rainfall area, even they are seen in our body, they are seen on the dresses what you are using, they are present even on the food what you are eating, they are present on the hands which you are using. Everywhere in the world you can find the microorganisms. Even though they are present everywhere in the world, as they are minute in their size, we cannot see them with our naked eye. So to observe them, always and always we are using a microscope. Okay. So now these microorganisms, when they are studied properly in detail, then that branch of science which are truly studying about the microbes, it is called your microbiology. It is a branch of science which deals with the microorganisms, their growth, their usefulness, their reproduction. Means in detail study of the microorganisms we will study in a branch of science, that's called your microbiology. Okay, and the one who is studying about this microbiology, he is called as microbiologist. The person who is studying about this microbiology, he will be called as a microbiologist. And Louis Pasteur, he is a scientist who is called, he is a scientist, Pasteur. Louis Pasteur, he is a scientist who is called father of microbiology. Okay, so we came to know what are microbes. Microbes are the minute structures that are minute structured living forms that are present in the nature, which are always be observed under microscope. And the branch of science that is dealing with these microbes, it is called your microbiology. And the one who is studying about these microbes, he is called as a microbiologist. Yes, and the father of this microbiology, that is your Louis Pasteur. Okay, so now after this, yes, so after this, if you will see, the second one is, as we came to know where these microorganisms are present, These microbes, they are present everywhere around us. As they are too small, you cannot see them with our naked eye. They can be seen in the air, they can be seen in the water, and even on the soil. Okay, so now the next one, if you will see, all the microorganisms are same. Are there any differences are there? Are they are made with a single cell? Are they are multicellular? If you will see, these are the microbes, living forms which lives in a unicellular condition, or they are multicellular in their nature. Like a bacterium, if you will take, it is a unicellular organism. When you are talking about a fungi, it is a multicellular organism. And most of the times these microorganisms, they will exist in um, colonies, or they live is alone. Colonies means they are living in groups. Alone means they can live by themselves. Okay. Yes. So to understand about these microorganisms, there is a small activity is there, children. Yes. Let's take a bread and sprinkle small waters on the bed. There, keep that sprinkled bread in a airtight container for 2 to 3 days. So after 2 to 3 days, when you will observe, you will find some dust. It is growing on a blackish patch like structures that are growing on the surface of the bread. Take a small such blackish drop and observe that under microscope. You will find a variety specialized structures like this, which gives an appearance of tree. So this is a type of microorganism. It's called your fungi. Or else you can take or else you even can take curd, a small droplet of curd, scrap it on a glass slab, add methylene blue to it, and observe that under microscope. There you can find the bacteria. Okay. Yes. So now the next one, can all the microorganisms are of same type? If you will see, microorganisms, they are mainly classified into 4 different types. The first one, that is your bacteria. The second one is algae. Third is fungi, and the fourth is protozoans. So these are the 4 different types of microorganisms that we find in our nature: a bacteria, fungi, algae, protozoans. So along with these 4 different types of microorganisms, we even have viruses, which are almost considered as a microorganisms and always acting as a connecting link between the living and non-living organisms. So let us try to learn what are these bacteria. Yes. So bacteria are the living organisms which are formed with a single cell. They are very simple living organisms, and almost all, nearly till now, some 2.5 billions of bacteria they are present in a garden soil. If you will take only 1 gram of garden soil, in that 1 gram of garden soil, you can find around some 2.5 billions of microbes, especially bacteria in it. These are the single celled organisms, means most of their body it is made with a single cell, which exists in different type of structures. If the bacterium is having a rod shape, then we are saying it as a bacilli. If it is having a spiral shape, then we are saying it as a spirale. If it is having a spherical shape, then you are saying it as a coque. So like that, different shaped bacteriums that are existing in the nature, which are very much helpful to us. So now after the bacteria, the next one, if you will see, the next type of living organisms, those next type of living organisms, we are calling them as a algae. The next type of living organisms after the bacteria, if you will see, these are called as an algae. They are almost like a simple plant like organisms, because these algae, they are having chlorophyll in it. So these are called as a simple plant like organisms. So now these organisms, as they have a chlorophyll in them, they will prepare their own food. Same like plants, they will prepare their own food, but unfortunately, same like plant, it don't have any roots, it don't have any stem, and even it don't have any leaves. So algae is not considered as a plant. greenish patch of mass that is present on the stagnant water or on the walls of the moist walls, that is called your algae. Yes, so most of these algae organisms, those are the pond water organisms, because pond is a water resource which you will find the stagnant water. So most of the algae, these are the pond or lake water organisms. Very few are your seawater organisms. Okay, even you can see these organisms on the moist walls, moist rocks, everywhere. So these algae organisms, they are either unicellular, they are unicellular, or they are multicellular. So these organisms, either they are called as a unicellular organisms or they are called as a multicellular organisms. Okay, so now after this algae, though, the next type of microorganisms, after algae, the next type of microorganisms we are going to study, that is the protozoans. What are the next type of living organisms? That are your protozoans. These are mostly unicellular organisms, means their entire body it is made with a single cell, and they have somewhat resemblance characters like animals, because these animals they can move from one place to another place. Okay, so for movement purpose, these animals either they are using a cilia, small hair like structures, or they are having a big tail like structure, that is called flagella. Even in case of amoeba, you can see a pseudopodia. These are some of the movable organs due to which the animal will move from one place to another place. And majority of the times these protozoan organisms, they are acting as a parasites, means they are depending on the host cell and killing that host cell. Majority of the times these protozoan organisms, they are acting as a parasites on human body, so that we will suffer with number of diseases. Okay, so now after protozoan, the next variety of living organism that we find, that is your fungi. Fungi is a group of living organisms which is resembling like a plant, like it is having a globular head, a stalk like structure, but it is not having any chlorophyll in it, same like plant. That's what it is kept under a special group, that is called your fungi group. So majority of these fungi group organisms, these are, yes, they are unicellular organisms. These are unicellular organisms like your Penicillium, Notatum, Aspergillus. These are some of the microscopic multicellular fungi. But whereas if you will see mushrooms, these are the microscopic, not a naked multicellular fungi. And these fungi, most of the times it will try to eat the dead and decomposing materials as a food and try to clean up the environment. Okay, so till now we have discussed about 4 different types of microorganisms, children. One is your bacteria, second one is your algae, third is your protozoan, and the fourth one is your fungi. So now other than these 4, in the environment there is one more living microbe is present, that is your virus. We know it very well, because of this only virus, so because of this virus only we are sitting at homes nowadays. So virus is a special microscopic organism which is very 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 smaller, that what you even can't able to see this virus under microscope. If you want to notice this virus under microscope, we should use the advanced microscope, that is electronic microscope, which can enlarge the size of the living organisms almost 2 lakhs times than its original size. That means you can understand how much minute structure your virus was. Okay, now such a virus, it is acting as a connecting link between the living organisms and non-living organisms. So these viruses, when they are having a host cell, they will use and own up the host cell. It's not now they are using, they are owning up the host cell and completely utilizing that used host cell and doing its activity. But when there is no host cell to it, it will totally become inactive and becomes as a non-living material. That's what we are saying, virus as a connecting link between the living and non-living things. Okay, so when it is entering into the host cell, remember it will try to reproduce quickly and try to increase its number, due to which the host cell becomes very weak and cause harmness to the host cell. So your viruses, if you will see different varieties of viruses, we will find one such virus here. You can see this is your bacteriophage, a T-shaped virus, and another virus here you are able to see, this is your HIV virus, which causes a disease called AIDS. These viruses will spread very easily from a healthy person, from an unhealthy person to a healthy person. So like the different varieties of viruses that are seen in our nature. So far in our lesson, children, we came to know what are microorganisms, where they are present, and what are the different varieties of microorganisms. So in our next class, children, we are going to study about the different uses of microorganisms in different areas, like in the food industry, how that microorganisms are used, how these microorganisms are used in the medicinal industry, and what are the other uses of these microorganisms, we are going to study in our next class. After listening the video, children, please open your textbook and start reading the lesson. Thank you so much.